Hello and welcome to the Pagan Portal Podcast, produced by Moonbooks Publishing and presented by me, Rachel Patterson. If you prefer an audio-only version, hop on over to Spotify. If you are watching on YouTube, please do consider subscribing or even becoming a member for sneak peek previews. Today, I am incredibly pleased to welcome two of the most wonderful, multi-talented super celebrity witches out there, Barbara and Flavia. Welcome.
Hello, Rachel. Lovely to see you.
We have, full disclosure, we have bumped into each other over the years and various things. Had a bit of laugh. I own some of their clothes. I own some of their oracle decks. I own some of their books. Very hardworking, very, as I say, multi-talented. So today it's going to be really interesting to delve into your pathways, really. For those two people out in the world that don't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Well, I think I've lost my accent now, but I grew up in the Highlands of Scotland and I was very fortunate, like Flavia, I was very fortunate that I had an aunt, Auntie Barbara, I had my Granny Winnie, I had people, and then of course I met Swain MacDonald, the Highland Seer. So I was very lucky in my younger years to have people around me that were showing me what Swain called it the craft of the wise. It's penned as Scottish witchcraft, but it's craft of the wise. So it's Scottish folk magic. And so I grew up surrounded, like Flavia. It's interesting how we mirror one another. I grew up in nature. I didn't do school. A lot of people go, and I was undiagnosed with dyslexia and ADHD. So being in that world, going to school, I got belted every day. I'm sure as a lot of other people go, yeah, and remember that one. And so quickly I learned, very quickly, how to get out of the classroom, wear the dunce's hat, my witch's hat, my cone of power, and then escape for the day into nature. And that's how I started off. I drove the church nutty because I questioned everything. Well, why isn't there a goddess? Things like that, which everybody just didn't know how to deal with me. But I did my own thing. And I always remember in school going, at 8 years old, going, I already know what I need to know. I don't need to learn this rubbish. And that was at 8. So like Flav, I was very determined. I knew what I wanted to do and what my path was. So when I met Swain, I worked in nature in the Black Isle, which is Flavia loves there because there's fairy glens and fairy waterfalls. So it was very, very magical. And I was very blessed to work with Swain. And then when I left, because of my neurospiciness, as they call it these days, I went off to America. I met Edmund Eagleman, the book The Shaman Within, and I started traveling. I ended up in the airlines with no qualifications, but it was amazing. It was meant to be. So when everybody else was going to the bar drinking spirit, I was off searching for spirit on the lands, the loci, things like that. So I was very fortunate. I was with the airlines, and then from there I worked at the Art of Finlay College. I was the youngest course organizer there, but I drove them nuts because I was really out there, and worked at all the different colleges, and then sort of carried on the path of what I'm doing. And then, as you know, was it 15 years ago, we met in Glastonbury, and it was like looking for, she's my best friend, my magical partner. I looked for somebody. I was always looking for somebody who shared my beliefs, my visions, my craziness, my weirdness. And I met Flavia, and it was like we complete each other's sentences. And so when we met at 50, we didn't meet at 50, maybe we did. I always joke that I came down 11 years earlier because I wanted the chocolate. So I said, you can carry on playing your harp. I'm off to get the chocolate. So that's something we always joke about. But we just, as you know, we're just having such an amazing time. We learn something new each day, and we just love what we do. And that's a little bit about myself, Flaves.
Well, yeah, I mean, basically, you've asked who we are. We are Barbara and Flavia. We have written numerous witchy books, oracle decks. How many oracle decks have we got now?
15.
About 15 or something like that. We're so passionate about it. Oh my gosh. And we have worked our little socks off for the last 15 years to bring witchcraft to the forefront. And what's absolutely amazing is that after lockdown, they came in their droves to the shop.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, the spiritual energy is just sprinkled over so many people and wakened them up. And so all that hard work we put in the years before, like yourself, Rachel, suddenly people were wakened up by it. So we were all shown to have all the products ready for then people to then pick up when the time was right, which I think is amazing.
Why don't you tell Rachel about your childhood?
Yeah, it's
see, we're psychic.
Okay, so I grew up in the middle of woods. I was literally in the middle of woods. My mother still lives there now. It's absolutely stunning. And so I spent the whole of my childhood in those woods. I'd sit by the trees. I'd meditate from the age of about 7, and I would talk to the fairies, leave them gifts. I had a magical well which was just behind the house, and I always felt that I was the well maiden, the guardian of that water. So I was always there doing little water rites and rituals, and and I was the kid that was really sensitive. I was the kid that felt what other people were feeling. And I was also the one that could see things that other people couldn't see either. And so, of course, everyone just thought I was a little bit weird. They thought Barbara was a bit weird. And I worked. I was going to say I worked in corporate. No, I started off actually on the stage in The Sound of Music as Louisa Von Trapp, and I then played many other parts as well. I did tours around the country, also shows in the West End, and also my local town as well. So. So that's where I started, and I always thought I was going to be this famous actress. But when you look back, everything I trained for and learned actually was for this. Spirit got me working on this professionally 20 years ago, and I started off giving angel readings and running meditation groups and little witchy classes. And then about 10 years later, I met Barbara in Glastonbury, not the festival, in Glastonbury, the real magical street, it. And we just clicked. And after that, we just started working together, going around to all the shows and the festivals, doing workshops together, doing rituals. And then, of course, we just started writing together. It was the natural next thing on. To write our books and all our oracle decks. And so it continues.
And I have to say, if it hadn't been for Flavia, I wouldn't be the writer I am today, because she took the time, to go through everything, the shaman within. She edited it all, did everything. And then she set me free when I did Scottish Witchcraft, and I did that myself. And now she's just taught me so much.
And she's a phenomenal writer now. Amazing. She's overtaken me. I'm like, oi! That's fantastic. We're a great team, aren't we?
Yeah,
we really are. Neuro-spicy witches.
Yes.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So you mentioned witches. Is that I know witchcraft is a magical practice. Is your spiritual pathway pagan, or is it a mixture of all sorts of things?
Yes, it's quite eclectic in a way. I mean, yes, we are witches. But at the same time, I would consider myself a fairy shaman, working with a fae. I work with them in a witchy way, but also in a shamanic way, because shamanic and witches, it's that deep-rooted tradition in the earth. And so I know that Barbara, she's done a lot of work with shamanism, but when we both came together, we were witches. I was a witch all my life as a kid without even realising. I didn't even know, even though I was playing witchy games and, but we were brought up to think the witch was with the crooked nose and all the warts and everything, weren't we? And it wasn't, as I was getting older, I realised that actually the witch is the wise woman, the wise one that was of the village, helping and working with the fae to, have healing herbs and how to make little potions. And, that's literally what I was doing as a child, really. So, yeah, my path is quite eclectic. I would have said I was born with a pagan heart completely. Just love nature, love the wheel of the year, everything. And, but I consider myself a witch. And we're both high priestesses of the craft. So that, I would say, is definitely my crooked pathway.
Yeah, never go to the straight line, does it?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And also Flavia with sea magic, all of that, the mermaids, the sirens, witchcraft, everything like that. She's incredible in that aspect.
Yeah, I'm all about the elements.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, definitely. And of course the Fae.
Yeah.
Who I've known all my life.
For me, it's always been shamanic. As I said, when I was a teenager, I met Ed McGaw. And the reason I ended up traveling, because the only way I could learn was by listening. I couldn't read, I couldn't write at the time. I was just, you know what went on back in the late 60s. And so I started I traveled over, and it was again, Spirit said, get on a plane, went on a plane, ended up going over there and met Ed McGaw, Eagleman, while traveling around the Badlands, South Dakota. And he became my teacher, and he showed me how to run sweat lodges. I then went on to do Sundance for 11 years as a veteran sundancer. It's a past life thing. It's so ingrained in me. And I always remember was two memories, one in Egypt and one the Native American lifetime. And I've had so many confirmations since then. And, Ed was my blood brother. We did a ceremony, and, so for me, mine is like Flav's, eclectic, because I follow the natural path of traditional witchcraft, where it's, 1 minute I could be out there working with the ancestors, the next minute, as Flavia said, I could be working with the elements. I love them. I was initiated originally back in the 70s, I'll say it quickly, shows my age, into Wicca, but it didn't resonate with me so much, because it was very, being, spicy, I have to do everything from the heart. So when I met Ed, it was like, right, we're doing a ceremony. And so I got to understand the difference between ritual and ceremony, and speaking from the heart center. And so I traveled around the world, spent a year in South America doing ayahuasca and everything else in my journeys, to discover that I've sort of woven my path in craft. And like Flavia, I'm a pagan at heart. I'm very much to the earth, the nurturing of the earth, nurturing of ourselves and others. But I would, if somebody said, who are you? I would say I'm a shamanic witch, because I weave the two together.
Yeah. But people like the labels, don't they?
Oh, they do.
Sometimes it doesn't all fit.
No, we've just done an oracle deck called what's it? Witches of the Craft, and it's got which. Yeah, it's got all the different different witches are, so you can see, oh, well, which witch am I today, or which witch am I anyway? And so yeah, it's a great fun one. So I'm like, I'm a Hellenic witch today, or a bone witch, or
a Christian witch even.
Yeah, there's even Christian witch in there.
Because Flavia's
mum.
There
are so many, aren't there? There's so many under that big umbrella.
Exactly. And it's brilliant, because you can just pick and choose who you want to be, or who your heart's telling you to be.
And that's wonderful within the traditional umbrella of the traditional.
Yeah.
And just to say, Flavia hasn't said, her mum's a vicar. So I always tease her about being a Christian witch.
But it's possible to work with the two, isn't it? It is possible.
Exactly. You know, I still, I love the way that in the church of Mary, Mary is the goddess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mary
Absolutely.
Magdalene, 100%. I'm completely into her work.
Yeah.
Completely.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. She's a game changer.
So tell me about spirit visions. What is spirit visions?
Well, spirit visions, I was actually in the Badlands in South Dakota, and I was doing a Humblecha, which means to cry for a vision. And it's a 4-day fast where you go on top of the mountain. And I was up there on the 4th day, and I'd seen this patch that I wanted to go in, and they marked out the territory and placed me in there. And it was a round circle. And on the 4th morning, the sun came up, and I thought, oh, good, 4 days, no food, no water. It's a very hard one. And I opened my eyes, and this buffalo was staring at me. So he'd come up the hill and was looking at me. And as I looked at him and I thought, I need to move, all I heard was the words, spirit visions. Spirit visions, and it kept repeating itself. So I'd finished my 4 days. I came down the hill and met the elders and everything and told them. And so spirit visions became the umbrella for what we do, as in it sort of incorporates everything.
Yeah,
doesn't it? It's because we get visions from spirits.
Absolutely. That's as simple as that. So it is the umbrella over us,
Yeah.
our shop, work, doing workshops, everything is just under spirit visions, and that's us.
Perfect description. Now, you mentioned the shop. So
Yeah.
tell us about Arnemetia's The Purple Shop.
Arnemetia, it's originally called The Purple Shop, and then Arnemetia is the goddess of the land here in Buxton, who called Barbara here to start with. And then I was called here, and Arnemetia is just a huge force. She really is. She's the goddess of the water, the sacred streams, the sacred grove, and she's also that sacred part, that nematome in your heart as well. She's that sacred space. So we wanted to honor her because even the Romans worshipped her when they took over the whole of Buxton and ruled the land. And so there's still, like, in Buxton here, there's still a few little memories to her, apart from the amazing well. Her well comes right up from under the ground, obviously, and it comes out warm. It is so sacred. It's so pure. But of course, Arnemetia's well has now been changed to St. Anne's well. But we know that where it comes from, that is exactly where the ancient tribes used to go and worship her. So she decided that we would bring her energy back to Buxton. So the shop is now Arnemetia's,
The Purple Shop.
and it's still purple.
And what happened was, when I came here 22 years ago, my then ex-fiance, I met him in Manchester, and he said, right, you can live in a radius within 100 miles of Manchester. Here's a map. And my finger landed on Solomon's Temple, which is very similar to the Glastonbury Tor. It's actually on top of an Iron Age fort, an old Iron Age fort on the boundary lines. And we ended up, James said, where do you want to go? And we looked and we saw this house. So we went into the house. And as soon as I walked in, one of the All One Tribe drums, the original ones I did many moons ago, was sitting there, and we had this connection. And I walked out, and it's the middle of winter, and I walked out onto the land, and this form came to me, and all she said to me was, because I was surrounded by woods and trees, is, I am the goddess of the grove and the water. And then I wrote a song called Reawakening the Goddess, which was all about Arnemetia. And then we carried on to the land, and then the shop came about again through that. And then Flavia and I, as I say, and Flavia just said, we work together with Arnemetia. And she is, as Flavia said, a formidable force.
Oh, she really is. I've written all about her in my Reclaim Your Dark Goddess bit, because no one really knows that much about her. And, you can compare her to the Roman goddess Solis, and there are various gods, even Temis. And that's the Thames goddess.
Yeah.
And no one really knows about her, but she's been drawn by amazing artists, Naomi, for our goddess deck. So, but anyway, back to the shop. Yes.
The crooked path.
Cricket Path, of course, and we sell all things magical: crystals, wands, herbs,
Everything.
spicy things,
Yeah.
oracle decks and books,
Clothing.
yeah, and then we've got a shop opposite called the Grove, so it's Arnemetia's Grove, and that's where we sell all the funky festival clothes, all our witchy clothes, and just things that most people can't usually get hold of if you're into something a bit alternative. So we get quite a few people coming up here to Buxton. People do actually travel from miles around, don't they, just to come up and say hello and have a good look round. And we call this, we've invented it because we're opposite. We call this the Glastonbury of the North.
Well worth a trek then, by the sounds of it. No, I love the idea of Arnemetia. I'm an advocate for all of the ancient English deities.
Yes.
Yeah. But as you say, there's not much about them, is there? We have to really dig deep.
Yeah, a few books in the pipeline.
There is a book that we are in the middle of doing, which is all about Arnemetia. So watch this space.
Yes.
So you mentioned writing a song there. So I know you both sing. How does that all work?
Well, do you want to start? Because I was singing on my own in theatres while Barbara was like getting the group together, Daughters of Gaia.
It's going back 25 years now. I met Karen Kay and we started, and with Joya, and we started working together. And it was like, the only way I could describe it was a download of music. And the first CD album I did was Spirit Visions, which was very much of the journey through the Native American lands, working like, you've probably heard us singing Mother I Feel You and things like that. And so that was the first one. The second one's Rock the Goddess, which most people know about, which is We Are the Witches.
Yeah.
So what I did was with Joya, I took old songs and made them 21st century. Well, it's actually sort of 80s, 90s sort of riffs still in it.
Yeah.
And then we did Ancient Future. But it was when I was traveling, journeying. And it was interesting how I could tap the music out. But fortunately enough, I met Joy and Gavin, who helped to bring that in. And then the journey sort of continued. And then when I met Flavia in Glastonbury, one of the first things I said to her was, "Can you sing?" And she went, "As it happens, I've been on the West End stage. I've sung lead parts." And I was like, so I'm very low when I'm singing. I'm the alto and she's very high. And our vocals just blended beautifully.
When we first sang together, I found myself suddenly doing natural harmonies with Barbara, with what Barbara was singing. I'd never been able to do that before, and it just came naturally. She was low and I was high, and suddenly we just became one voice.
Yeah. And so we've sort of, as you know, we've sung at Witchfest. We sing at the MBS.
Yeah.
In London and Birmingham. Pagan and Witches Festival. So travel around. Still doing that.
Still doing all our witchy singing, and we love it.
Because it's ritual emotion.
Yeah.
It's magic emotion.
Yeah. It's not just us, singing out songs.
I think music's very underrated in magic. I think music has a magic tone, doesn't it? And I think it's very underused.
It's so powerful. It's so powerful. It's so powerful to connect with spirit, but it's also really powerful to manifest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you've got the feelings coming through as you're singing it.
Mm-hmm. It's always funny, actually, when we're singing.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's funny if we're singing like Mother I Feel You, and Flavia looks at me and she goes, "Oh, she's off again." And I'm I'm so chatting.
It's full into a Native American peace zone.
And she's like, "Oh, she's off again."
Well, that's part of it, isn't it? It is music is part of the soul, isn't it? I think, and I think I use it. I can't sing. I cannot sing at all. But I use music in ritual, in spell work, in casting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to. I even have to have it playing. If I'm giving a reading, I have to have it playing lightly in the background just to have that ambience. And
definitely. It is very magical. I wish I could sing. It's not one of my skills.
Well, you have lots of other gifts
Yeah.
and abilities. We got lots of other gifts and abilities.
I love everything, you know.
I can't draw. I cannot draw.
I know you've talked about fairies and water, and are there any specific areas of the craft that you are particularly drawn to that are your soul calling, I guess?
All my life, I was working with the elements and the elementals. I am so fey. But also there's that, I love that dark shadow work as well. People see me and they think I'm, a light fluffy fairy. But
The other way round. The other way round.
I did a lot of dark shadow work. But recently, oh my gosh, I had a near-death experience about 3 years ago when I was attacked and left to dead, as you know, in Manchester. Oh my gosh, since then, Rachel, I haven't stopped thinking about dying, but not in a macabre way, in a way that I've been there. I want to help people get through that eye of the needle to get to the right place and, pass through just beautifully. So suddenly Spirit has got me all excited about this. I'm just about to work with an amazing lady, and by the end of the year I'll have a diploma in it, so I can become a celebrant, helping with funerals, obviously not religious funerals, but helping
Fantastic.
and helping people in the process of going through their dying period. And it actually goes through each element. Isn't that interesting? The first thing is the earth and all the physical is bad, and then so you're not working with it, and then you're working with fire, because suddenly anger and stuff comes out and their spirits all over the place. And do you know what I mean? And then the water, that's when it might start leaking in various places. And then the last one is the air and the breath. So I've come to understand so much. It's not all just about living. It's also going through that process to the next stage. I'm so passionate about it, Rachel. So passionate. And I can't wait to get started.
So that is a calling. That's a definite calling, isn't it? That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so strange to think that I've gone from, and I still do it, of course, but I always thought my main thing was working with the elementals and getting that information out there, which obviously I already have. But yes, this, because everyone goes through it, don't we? All go through it, and no one talks about it. And no one even, people try not to think about it. I want to get everyone's soul to the right place.
And it's interesting with what Flavia's gone through and the path she's now on, because it links directly with the passion I have, which, as you know, the book I'm doing next with yourselves is Witches' Wounds, Reclaiming the Bloodline of Power. And I have other ideas from that. And it's about looking, what I'm writing about is going right back to the very beginning. And it's kind of a bit of psychology mixed in as well, but it's looking at those wounds and also looking into past lives, because it's something I have so many memories of past lives. I've always had them, and I've done so much work in regression work and everything with people. So that's my direction. But what's interesting with me doing the witch's wounds and looking within and releasing the pain and releasing the wounds and whatever level they may occur, it then goes directly and ties in with Flavia's work. So here we are sort of going along like this, but actually we're going along like that.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. And it means, and because we're high priestesses, we can do like hand fasting. So we're going forward as celebrants now.
Yeah.
But anyone who wants hand fasting, if they want the rites of passage of passing through, or a non-religious funeral, that's what we do.
We're going forward.
That's very important, isn't it? That covers the whole cycle.
Doesn't it? So,
Between the two of us.
yes.
It's quite good because we'll do something and then the other one will go, oh yeah, and then we'll go, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's link that up.
Yeah.
So it's like having my twin with me. It really is.
No, I think it's beautiful how it all ties in. But as you say, there's a lot of subjects like that that just don't get talked about.
No,
Whether
no, they
it's
don't.
No.
the wounds of the past or
Yeah.
the life after. Yeah, it just
Yes.
gets shoved under the carpet, doesn't it?
It does.
Exactly. And the thing is, that's the most real thing you're ever going to do.
Yeah.
And we're all going
And
to
as
do
you
it. And yet
say,
it's like,
no one is exempt from it.
no one. Yeah, no one. You know, we're all the same. You
Yeah.
know, but like Barbara says with the witch's wounds, it's so important to recognize them and then heal them from those past lives because we come in with those wounds. Because if we pass over with those wounds, we're coming back to sort them all out again. And that's what I'm going to try and help people not have to keep repeating this cycle. It's time to just go off into bliss.
Until you start searching for chocolate and then off you go back again.
Back again.
I'm just going to take it straight. I said to Flavia when I pass over, just before I go, put some chocolate in my mouth, please.
Yeah, she wants milk chocolate and the, what was it?
Lindets.
The Lints. She wants one of those. And what's that? That Milky Bar Kid one. Yeah, that one.
Oh no, you can keep the white chocolate.
Yeah. I agree. It's not even
that.
chocolate, is it, Rachel?
No, it should be illegal.
Yes, it should. It's fat and sugar.
Yes, great.
No, I think it's fabulous how it all works together. And anyone that meets you can see that there is that harmony. And I think it's perfect. It is perfect.
Oh,
Thank you.
And I mean, Arnemetia, you mentioned. Do you have other specific deities that you work with? Are the deities you work with together, or do you have your own individual ones?
We have our own individual ones where even though we work together, we're still solitary.
Yeah.
So if that makes sense. So we will do rituals together, but we have our own temple within us. And so I have my private chats with whichever deities I'm working with at that time, or whether it's my guides. I know Barbara is the same. So we don't really share that so much, do we? Because it dilutes it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Going to say
I'm-
about.
I'm sort of old school because I work with Ralph Harvey, and it was always discussed. You never talk about which deities you work with. You can talk about the pantheons they come under. So I'm very much about, not telling anyone who I work with, because as Flavia says, it dilutes your power. Nowadays, you see people online and they're going, oh, let's say my deity is Kali and I'm working with Kali, but that gives people power over you. So we work with different, I, for example, will work with Egyptian deities, or I'll work with the deities of this land. I sort of draw and weave for what is needed at that moment in time. I might go into Norse deities. Sometimes I draw on the Indian ones, philosophy, but it's more the sort of Nordic of this land, of old Europe, the old gods, and the Egyptian part, and in particular, that's
And that's the same with me as well. And that's why it's good to have which is which. The witches of the craft, because what should I work with today? Oh, yeah. So yeah.
But if you saw around our house, we have many different, we got loads of altars in each room. We got altars everywhere, and we have different deities, and different rooms, and that deity is honored. For example, right in front of us, we have Lilith, a big picture of Lilith with the snake, and then we've got all the different deities and goddesses, particularly in the Greek Parthenon, that work with the snake medicine, and then we've got columns with snakes up. So, and we've got the temple priestess from Knossos statue. So we have different aspects.
Yeah, so our hallway is all completely Native America. My bedroom is completely Egyptian, but also turquoise. So it's like I'm in Atlantis. And Barbara's got like many gods and goddesses in her room. So really the whole house is above the shop. So the whole house is like a living temple.
Altar, yeah.
It's a living altar, yeah.
Mm.
So it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
So we just pick and choose.
Yeah.
We cherry pick. But of course we do have our main as well.
I have our main deities, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm good with that. Now, you mentioned, Rachel, ceremony. Is that important to your daily practice or your regular practice, ritual of some sort?
Yeah, I'd say ritual, not necessarily ceremony for an everyday life, but there is rituals and whether it's something that I want to get done massively or a regular ritual. So a regular ritual would be to wake up to light a candle and place it next to my beautiful goddess, which is like the earth goddess. And so she gets that. And then I might do a prayer or just give an honouring and leave a gift or just an honouring and then just feel her strength. And that sets me up for the day. So that is a ritual. In the evening on our altar in the lounge, I will light candles to each of the deities that we have on that altar and also to the upper worlds or the lower worlds. So again, that is ritual. Yeah. It's something you do in honour and in dedication. That's what a ritual really is. Yeah.
And in a way, because we're so immersed in what we're doing, and as we said already, we're surrounded by it, every waking moment for us is in effect a ritual because we're always lighting candles or lighting incense. So when we go down to the shop, then we have an altar there as well.
Everything's magical anyway. Yeah. Everything's just magical. So we're cheating a little bit. Yeah. Some people come up to us and say, I find it really difficult because I really love all this spiritual life, but I can't always be like it with all these other people who don't like it. Barbara and I are so lucky because we live it 24/7 because we're with each other. Mm-hmm. So we're cheating a little bit.
But there's always
it is one of those questions I get asked a lot. How do you have time? How do you find time to be a witch? I think it's important to work it into your daily routine, isn't it? Whatever you're doing,
you imbue it into your life.
Yeah. And you're just in that energy all the time. You're not suddenly like going, I'm walking down the street now, so I'm just going normal. I'm normal. You're just who you are. I mean, it's like cooking dinner or something. That's a ritual. I always do it and just pour in love and a few like sacred symbols and herbs and all sorts. And that's part of it, as I'm sure you do, Rachel, as well, being a herb witch. Mm-hmm. So, so it's just part of that. Yeah. Part of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like an enchanted life. It really does. But
it is. We're very blessed.
I think it is important that people remember that it's not separate, that your spirituality, your magic is in whatever you do, whether you are walking down the street, posting a letter, cooking the dinner.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you post that letter and imagine the Harry Potter owl taking it.
That's what we do.
Create magic within.
Seriously fabulous. Probably, I don't know, probably more efficient, but
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So when you're working on magic, we've talked, that's the whole mundane stuff. Do you use magical tools? Do you like magical tools? Does that form a part of what you do?
For me, I'm a drummer. So, I've been, that's my main tool, is the drums. But in our work, we have athames, we have wands. Again, being eclectic, it's really magical because you can work with different tools. And again, in the shop, we're surrounded. We have so many besoms, that are around us. So every day we're picking up broomsticks to put them outside the shop. Or, we're amongst the wand.
So just laces crystals around, saying, but also, I mean, not by rights, but really, you don't need tools for anything.
No.
The tool is in here. You don't need anything. But being human, humans like to touch something. Yeah. Humans like to see or be a part of creating that magic. Yeah, exactly. So, you don't need to actually point a wand to cast a spell. It's all within. It's all your intent. And of course, that is what it was. And you've got your flower finger. I will say, of course, we have created so many products to help people on their spiritual journey. So our oracle decks are a tool in a way, because it's divination, isn't it? It's divination. So you give yourself a reading or give someone else a reading or whatever it is. And so those tools, I have been working with oracle decks for 25 years. I did them every single day for 25 years, and suddenly I'm the author of them. So it just shows what you focus on can become part of you, And so yes. So I would say I still use oracle decks, probably not quite as obsessively as I used to. So I would say that is a tool that a lot of people use and can use, because if they think, I don't know what to do, I don't even know how to receive a message from my guides or whatever it is, the answers are just there, and you can't go wrong because it's actually aligned with your energy. Yeah. So I'm an oracle deck fan.
And I'm a drummer.
And she's a drummer. And we have got an oracle drum.
Oh, we got an oracle drum deck as well. It's true.
That came out earlier this year, and we still advertised it.
I'm with you on the drum. The drum sound again, isn't it? It's that vibration again. The drum
it's life changing. We were in the Great Pyramids on the 21st of December 2012. And I was in the King's Chamber, and going back 20 years now, you could get in there, not a problem at all. Take your gongs, flutes, drums, whatever in with you. And when we were there, I was in the King's Chamber, and I just started playing the one beat. And Flavia and the sound engineer were in this sort of antechamber. Flavia got lifted off her feet and up the wall with the sound of the drum.
The resonance that came through from that King's Chamber into that antechamber, the whole thing, it was like there was just this energy, and I couldn't do anything but
rise up. And our sound engineer was blown away, because he said the sound and the frequency that was coming from it, he'd never heard anything like it in his life. Now, we still have a recording of that. We've never released it because it is so powerful. It literally basically changes the whole body when you listen to it. But that experience in itself. So I would
if you weren't ready, if you're not ready spiritually for it, it could blow you up. So that's why we have to be careful with it.
But the amplification as a tool in the right conditions and places is incredible.
Now, you've talked about spirit guides, and I wouldn't ask you about that because that's very private. But do you, as a general, work with the animal spirit guides in any form?
Very much so.
Very much. We've got 3 actually sitting in our living room. Three animals, three pussycats. So we've got our beautiful.
We've got our cat magic, and whenever we do a ritual, especially in front of the fireplace, they join us. They just come and just sit there quietly and just watch. And we know they've come to us for a reason. They know they're like our guardians of the liminal space. It's really, we love them. But also we also know that if an animal comes to us, if we're outside and a crow keeps coming around, or if a squirrel comes up to us, we know that is a spirit sent messenger, and its energy is the message to us. So we're always on the lookout, and we always recognize those animals.
And we're always looking for signs. We have a catio because we're above the shop, as Flavia said, and we've had a catio built outside the kitchen. So it's 1 floor up, but all the pigeons and all the crows and everything else. And we feed them, and the cats are like...
And the pigeons all come, and I call them going...
The pigeon whisperer.
And they all come, and it's just lovely. Yeah, we just love it. So we do work with the animals in that sort of like very shamanic way. And we've also, of course, there are familiars.
Yeah, definitely.
And I have familiars in the spirit world that I work with.
Yeah.
different types of creatures, as I'm sure you do as well as having the physical familiars. And we've also got a familiars oracle deck, of course.
And again, the incorporation of power animals, which is the Native American, which I learned, and then, of course, the witches' familiars.
Yeah.
So, yes, there are animals that work with us that we will call on, again, very similar to the deities, and call on their strengths, their powers. You know, we've got a spider, a lovely big spider in the bathroom at the moment, so we honour him as well.
We've shot a few flies in there for him.
Every good
Like,
witch
all the
is now
flies go into the
spiders.
bathroom. My spider needs a meal.
But no, we recognise the strength, the power of each individual, whether it's the tiniest little ant to elephants. We've been out in Bali, and Flavia took me there for my birthday, and we spent 3 days on this elephant sanctuary. And I have never, I've done literally everything. I've done the ayahuasca, I've done everything in South America. But as soon as we went into the elephant enclosure, my heart opened up and I just cried and cried. And it was amazing. So Ganesh, thank you.
Absolutely. And I wasn't well at all. I wasn't well. And we walked past this elephant and he grabbed my hand.
Yeah.
He wrapped his trunk around it and then he pulled as if he was doing a shamanic extraction.
Yeah.
Pulled it.
Yeah. And
then in about a few minutes, I was better. He took that from me. Isn't that amazing? See, animals know.
Yeah.
They absolutely know. There's just, I got
goosebumps. And I'll share one other story with you. When I was in Phoenix, Arizona, waiting for a flight, I went to this animal sanctuary and everybody was crowded. I thought, what are they looking at? So I was drawn like everybody else does. And there was this beautiful leopard and they were saying, oh, what a shame, she's hiding. And suddenly she came up and she ran straight up to me at the cage and she started going, like this. And I'm like, naturally just going, oh, really? Okay, yeah, I'll tell the keepers. And everybody else is looking at me like, who's this weird person? And what she told me was that she'd had a leg amputated and it was had an infection in it. And she didn't. So I went to the keeper, I explained to them. Anyway, I walked round, I was walking out of the exit and the keeper came up and she said, we've taken her in, she has an infection. I don't know how you did that, but thank you very much. And I just said, because I listen, because animal speaks. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful gentleman who I met many times, Ted Andrews in America. And I spent a lot of time with Ted. And he was one of the ones that helped me to connect. I always had done like Flav's child, but his work and the way he approached it. And so I see we communicate, you know, from the pigeon whisperer to the cat whisperer to the, you know, animals are incredible.
And always drawn to us, aren't they?
Yeah.
Always
they
drawn
are.
to us.
And they're drawn to people who have that energy. You know, we're seeing you see a big revival of people at the moment that call themselves, I don't know, cat whisperer, dog whisperer, whatever, hamster whisperer. But everybody is starting to learn, like Dr. Dolittle, that you can speak with the animals. You've just got to have a good ear, haven't you?
Yeah.
Fairly certain my dog doesn't listen, but I do trust.
No, our Ginger doesn't either. I think he's human. You know,
Yes.
he's like a dog. He follows us around.
I think cats in particular are drawn to the spirituality of things, aren't they? They are quite magical in themselves, yeah.
Yeah, because and what people need to realize is that I know we're all here in this one space, but animals are slightly more in the spiritual dimension energy-wise than we are, even though we should be. But of course, we know it's the energies of 3D that like have brought us right down. But we're all escaping from that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, fighting hard.
Yes.
So what new projects have you got? What's next for you?
Oh gosh. Working with moon books, with doing the Witch's Wind, with claiming the bloodline of power. We've just the diary and calendar as well.
So we've got Witch's Diary, which is always sold out by August for the following year. So that's the Witch's Diary for 2026, and we've got Witch's Calendar for 2026 as well, which is absolutely exciting.
Yeah.
We've also got we did spell casting with Hay House about 5 years ago. We're now bringing out love casting with Rockpool Publishing. Yeah, and moon casting.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be, next year is going to be all about casting, whatever it is you're casting. We're going, come on, you casters. What else are we doing? I've got, you've got a protection book coming
I've
up.
got, with Llewellyn, is it a Shield, Ward, Banish and Bind?
Yeah, which is amazing.
Which is coming out in March next year.
Yeah, I've got a Fairy Witchcraft book coming out next year. And we've also just launching, starting on the 31st of October, Samhain, of course. We're doing a witch's course, a year and a day. And so this is going to be a huge coven of Arnemetia, and anyone can join who really wish to dedicate to that path for a year and a day. And after that year and day, they are initiated into our coven of Arnemetia. So that is a very, very exciting, something we've wanted to do for years and years, and we finally got around to it because it's all the technical side. We've got it all in here, but it's just the technical side. So we've got a wonderful girl called Maria who understands all that side of things,
Which is
to help us.
really, really.
Yeah.
And we've got lots of proposals all lined up, so yeah.
We've got lots going on. And of course, we've got all the shows and festivals coming up as well for the rest of the year, including Manchester, including the big Birmingham MBS, and of course Witchfest,
which we'll see you there.
Yes.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, both of you, for sharing today. Magical, enchanted, blessed life for sure, but you give it back. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. I think, like me, witchcraft needs to be shared. So thank you for all that you do for everyone out there as well. And thank you for chatting today. And blessings to you both for the future.
Oh, thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed it.
Yes, it's been lovely.
Just lovely. Lovely to see you. And thank you so much for inviting us on.
Definitely.
Very welcome. And thank you to everyone watching and listening. And do join us again next time on the Pagan Portal Podcast.
You have been listening to the Pagan Portal Podcast, a Moonbooks Publishing production. For more information, please visit our website.